Getting to know you, getting to know all about you, getting to like you, getting to hope you like
We'll come on to Maxine, but I always think of Maxine as being the 300s. More than any other character, I think of Maxine as being, if Maxine's there, it's the 300s. That's the way I remember certain characters, is like what era they were in.
So if you'd like asked me years ago who was my favourite character, I probably wouldn't have said Maxine. I'm not sure she's my favourite, but she's definitely one of my favourites, and she's grown on me a lot more over the years. And I think it's a combination of things. She's such a good actor. She plays that role so well, and really, it's a humour and a character, and the way that she kind of, one minute she's quite a tough character who's quite strong and she knows her own mind and she can crack jokes and wisecrack and have a good relationship with Lizzie, but then she's actually quite vulnerable as well, and she shows her other side.
She's a teenager, isn't she? She's maybe like 19, 20
so,
now, I think. So it's, I think when she dies, actually, she's 20. So
is she right?
It's one of those things where she is actually meant to be playing someone who's quite immature. But she does play someone who's quite immature. But
then other times she's quite mature and quite knowledgeable and quite streetwise. And I mean, one of the things I was thinking of was when she becomes a babysitter and she works out that the kid's getting beaten up, and she knows exactly what to do, and she calls the doctor in. And I just think that's such a good story. And I know people always go on about the... is it Sally Dempster, the woman, that she's not a very good actress, and it's a bit where she runs her husband down? And I know that's a repeat of an earlier storyline where a woman gets in a car and runs a man down that she's angry with. But I actually think the Maxine elements of those those episodes is really good.
It's a completely different side to her character from what you've seen before as well. So it's almost like a 180 from how she's portrayed in however many episodes she's been into at that point, where she's like quite loud and wisecracking and just behaving like a 19-year-old. And then suddenly she's got that, they switch her character to be able to be that smart and pick up things and stuff like that. So, it wasn't a kind of U-turn in the way that they did with Doreen all the time, where it would be depending on the script. How stupid is Doreen today? This was more, all right, she's smart, but doesn't like everyone to know that she's smart.
Definitely. I mean, when she first comes into it, isn't she pretending she's got a bad back and she can't walk or something? And Ferguson's like, "Oh, Daniels, you again. Stop your nonsense." And she's like, "Yes, Miss Ferguson." And she just starts walking normally. And it's like, so you've obviously you kind of know from the start that...
she annoys Joan from day one. That's what's quite good about it.
They've got that previous relationship, haven't they? So I think she must come into it not long after the Freak comes into it, because doesn't she tell the women? Yeah, because
Freak arrives late 200s.
Yeah.
I want to say like 285 or something like that.
So Maxine probably starts maybe about 10 episodes after that.
Yeah.
I just remember her like, "Oh, I can't walk. Oh, my back. And then when she sees Ferguson, she's like, "Oh, hi, Miss Ferguson." And just like, she starts walking properly because she knows that she can't get away with it, which I thought is quite good. And then doesn't she like get released? Isn't it just for a short sentence? And then she gets released, and then within a couple of episodes, she's kind of like back again.
She gets released. I can't remember what she's in for to start with, but she gets... I assume she's on remand and then doesn't go to prison.
She gets off.
And then she turns up at the halfway house, doesn't she?
She does, yeah. And that's where she falls for Tony. And I think that's a really good story, because you really see like a bit of she really does fall for him, big style. And she makes a bit of a fool of herself, doesn't she, when she's like getting dressed up in that nightie and stuff.
But I've always referred to Prison as like possibly the least sexy show there's ever been. Maxine in that scene is actually a bit sexy.
Well, I mean, whether your taste is Maxine or Tony, there's something for everyone, isn't there? In kind of that relationship, but I just think it really just stood out along. But suddenly you've been watching a show for like 300 episodes, and all of a sudden you're going, "Hey up." And she's gone from being this really scruffy biker with greasy hair and a leather jacket and jeans, and then she stood there in Tony's flat in this little black 90 or something, and she's done her makeup, and you just think, wow, she's so pretty looking, and like she's really made an effort for him because she's really fallen for him and thinks that by dressing like that and being ready for bed that he's going to fall in love with her. And yeah, I mean, you said about her being immature, and perhaps that's like she's been an immature young woman thinking that he'll fall for her, and he doesn't, because he's already got someone else, and that's his job to work with people like Maxine. It's not his job to get them into bed. So I just
that'd be a weird job to have, to be fair. If it was his job to get Maxine into bed.
I know.
let me just check my job description. Oh right, it turns out I can do. I can hop in.
It's a bit ridiculous anyway. I mean, I thought it was a bit daft when Jean Vernon gives Nolene Burke's kid the keys, and she's like, "Oh, you've got nowhere to stay. Come and stop at mine." And it's like, what? That would be like a completely, like, you wouldn't do that if you were a social worker. There is no way you would allow one of your clients to come and stop at your house.
True. Particularly if it was the Burkes. One of my favourite families ever in the show, the Burkes. They are just amazing. They're just so entertaining every time they're on screen.
And if you do that episode about actors that have played two different roles,
I reckon I will at some point, because it's good fun.
Cole Burke, the one that's the lad, the really stupid one who does that, doesn't he hold a pregnant woman hostage and then he gets shot?
The stupidest of the Burke family. That's a very low bar, isn't it?
He then comes back playing a solicitor, and it's like, I had to actually check on the end that it was the same actor, and I'm like, wow, you really wouldn't think that was the guy that was Cole Burke, because they're completely opposites.
Yeah, well, it's the thing. There's only 30 Australian actors, isn't it? So they're all going to
keep reusing them.
They're all going to have to be like multiple accounts. And also another one in Maxine's story. What was her name? Bella.
Yeah, Tinkerbell.
Who was
and it's
Monica.
Monica, yeah. And it's weird in a way, because I've often thought, like, I know Tinkerbell's a biker, but she's actually quite like Moni, isn't she, in some ways?
That's why it's quite. Out of all the ones who played two characters, those are the most similar, because her hair's the same. Hasn't changed at all. It's got the same voice. He hasn't tried to change the voice or anything. It's just everyone's going, oh, right, it's Monica.
Yeah. And again, I think one of the good things about Maxine is that she has really good friendships in the program, and I think that friendship she has with Belle at the end, it's a shame that wasn't allowed to develop a bit more, or they want a few more episodes of it. And I get why they've done it. They're kind of setting it up for Maxine to die so that she can be shot and like leave the program.
Did she want out? Is that why?
I can't remember. I mean, I have seen the interview.
It's a relatively short run compared to some other characters, but
she's in it nearly a year, though, isn't she?
Yeah, she's in it a fair bit. But
is it like
normally the characters who want to get out of the show, they've normally been there for 200, 300, 400 episodes, whatever. Yeah, apart from Meg, obviously, they just built the set around her, I think.
Yes, I mean, I kind of get why they were like, okay, she wants to go. Let's have her escape from prison, and we'll bring a guest actor in, and we'll have a good kind of like a few episodes with them together before we shoot her. But I just wished it had been a bit longer with Belle, because I think they could have explored a bit more. Yeah,
that's what made me think that maybe
a bit too short.
And Lisa, isn't it? And she wanted out of the show, because that end just felt a bit hurried, and I don't think it needed to have been. I think there was a lot more of Maxine's character that you could have developed, or even that storyline to have developed.
I don't know whether you know this, because I know you haven't really watched a lot of other Australian soaps, but after she was in Prisoner, Lisa Crittenden went into Sons and Daughters for about a year, and played a very different character.
I'm aware of Sons and Daughters, but I don't think I ever paid attention to it.
She was like a bit of a
on in the days on occasion, wasn't it?
She was like a bit of a nasty character that was always causing trouble for people, and actually gets involved in one of the most horrendous storylines ever in an Australian soap, where a woman's baby gets taken, and they tell the woman that the baby's died, and she hasn't died, and she finds the baby. And she's like, "This is my baby," and they're like, "No, it's not. Your baby's dead." And she's like, "Look, this is my baby. I know it's mine. I know my own child." And they're like, "Stop being an idiot. Your baby's dead." And this is all because of the character that Lisa Crittenden played. It's really horrendous, but it's like a really good story.
It's done like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Completely different character and she ends up getting killed, I think, by a truck. She's like running across the road, and this wagon comes towards her and just flattens her. But she was really good in that as well, and completely different from the Maxine character. Completely.
Yeah, I remember seeing. I think have you seen the YouTube channel, The Prisoner Connection?
Yes.
Because there's one of her on that as well, and the stuff she's done.
Watched the one with her on.
She's so different in all the characters she plays.
Because I think she was in that New Zealand one, Shortland Street. I think she played a matron or something. And again, she was, I mean, obviously a lot older by then, but she was a completely different character in that as well.
Yeah, so, you would not, unless you put them together on a channel called The Prisoner Connection that was showing the same actor, you'd go, no, that's not the same person.
Wouldn't know. I mean, I actually think, I don't know whether I've already said this, but her relationship with Lizzie is really good as well. And I actually think Maxine and Lizzie works better than Doreen and Lizzie ever did, simply because
I agree.
Doreen's like an idiot, isn't she? And she's supposed to be an idiot. And
she's an idiot depending on the plot.
And Lizzie isn't.
Doreen's as thick as they need her to be.
Yeah, and other times she's quite with it, and then other times she's just a complete moron. But at least with Lizzie and Maxine, although obviously it's an old woman and a young girl, maybe like Lizzie recognises something in Maxine of how she used to be, or maybe they've got, they're in different circumstances, because obviously when Lizzie was a young woman, she was working on a farm and she was like a cook, wasn't she? So it was a very different life from the one Maxine's had, living on the streets and being a bikie. But but I think maybe Lizzie recognises that they've maybe got similar kind of personalities, and I think they get on really well.
Yeah, sometimes they try and force these like relationships between the prisoners, and sometimes they just kind of work, which is good. Sometimes it's the writing, but I also think that the actors have got to bounce off each other as well.
Yeah, so and they really do. They really do.
So they obviously looked at that and went, well, these two work together really well. So.
And that episode where after Maxine's dead, and has she written them a letter, and it comes to the prison, and there's this scene after she's died, like it arrives after she died, and there's this scene where Bea and Lizzie are reading the letter from Maxine, and Lizzie's really crying, and I just think that's so touching, and it's just really sad, isn't it?
It's right, because it's got to be just one of the last things
before Bea leaves, isn't it?
Bea leaves, because that must be right after that.
Because Maxine's probably like $2.95 to $3.95, something like that.
So she's like the buffer between Joan arriving and Bea leaving.
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, people have probably said this loads of times, but if you look at like how our Prisoner runs, Bea's there for the first 400 episodes. And the Freak's there for like the last 400 episodes, but there's like an overlap of about 100 in the middle, isn't there? Which is also the Maxine era, pretty much. And I just think that it kind of works really well. I don't know. I don't think Bea and Joan could have carried on much longer, the two of them, because they've already tried to kill each other, and we've had a fire.
Once you've had that scene. Once you've had that scene, it's difficult to know where to go, isn't it?
If you're not going to let one kill the other, you can't carry on with them both at loggerheads forever.
I think it's kind of a shame because Bea was transferred rather than killed off, well, she could have been killed off in the show.
But they probably wanted to leave it in case she wanted to come back.
But so the fact that she died off screen, I always thought was a bit of a shame, where it could have been Joan who killed her. And that would have been an all-time moment, wouldn't it?
Does Joan actually ever kill anybody?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think she does she?
But I reckon she would.
Do you think she would? Who do you think she would have killed? I mean, I know.
The people who killed anyone who kills the dog, I reckon she'd have killed them.
Yeah, I mean, there's that scene when she goes back into the prison, and is it Brenda with the big hair, who's Sonia's mate, and she's like, "Your mate's killed my dog," and she proper rips her up and throws her onto the bed, and
yeah,
think, oh my God,
and that's just the mate of someone who killed the dog.
Yeah. And then she does, when she comes back after the major's been kidnapped, she's like, "I'm gonna get you keen for hurting my father," and she really goes at it with Reb, doesn't she? So
I reckon she would have killed someone.
Pretty close, but
yeah,
I think if she had killed someone, I think that would have took it to another level, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I always thought like her and B was kind of building to that.
Yeah, one of them had to go.
And it was only the fact that they wanted to bring B back that stopped it from happening, I think. But a couple of years later, when they finally went, "Oh, well, she's not coming back," they just killed her off screen, which I always think a bit of an anticlimax for B.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that episode where Mrs. Reynolds says to Meg, "There's been a fire at Barnhurst and prisoners have burnt to death, and one of them was B." It's like, all right.
Oh, is that it? Is that the payoff?
Is that it?
Yeah.
That's all that. So we've just had that flashback episode of seeing everything that's happened and Lou Kelly claiming that she helped dig a tunnel and all of that.
Yeah.
And then B's dead. It's like, all right.
It's such an... Is that the weirdest episode?
Apparently it was because...
There was a spare one.
They'd messed up, hadn't they, with the producer hadn't sorted the contracts out. So they knew that Judy and Bobby and all of them were... No, Bobby didn't leave. Cass and Judy and all of them were leaving. And they were bringing in new characters, but they hadn't sorted out the contract, so they had two episodes with about 4 actors. So it had to be sort of Lexi, Myra, and whoever else was in it.
It didn't make. I remember watching that to start with, and when none of these people were in it.
I know.
And this is on the initial. Yeah, it's on the initial watch, and I was like, this is. None of these people saw any of these things happen. And I know because I watched them and they weren't there.
And even like Lou saying, "Oh, I helped dig that tunnel," and you think, well, you didn't dig anything. There was no tunnel. It was a storm drain, and then it was like cellars. It was already dug. It wasn't. You didn't dig a thing. But I suppose
maybe there was another tunnel that we didn't see.
Yeah. And
maybe it happened off screen.
They didn't know that we'd be analysing this and talking about it 40 years later, did they?
But that's what I mean, though. I spotted it at the time when I was first watching it. So other people must have thought the same thing.
They must have done.
That's right. Anyway, we've gone a bit off topic with Maxine.
Yeah.
What's your favourite Maxine moment?
Well, if it's not her trying to get Tony into bed.
That's right. That is I've got to admit,
yours.
As shallow as that makes me, that is my favourite Maxine bit. Either that or where she's wearing the world's shortest shorts. Either.
Yeah, when she's working at the family petrol station.
Yeah.
See, another bit we've not mentioned, I don't know if it's my favourite, but you remember the bit where her sister is spending big on the credit card and the husband, Roger, who's got another good moustache. They do the bank robbery. Her and Spud hit the guy over the head and steal the money for them. And she's quite happy to have done that robbery just to get her sister out of trouble. Yeah. And I just think even like that's a good, it shows her character and what she was prepared to do for her sister. That's not my favourite Maxine moment, but again,
it's another bit of layer of depth to her character, isn't it? That
I like,
even though she didn't get on with her sister, she would still do that.
Can I have two? I think the first one is where she's pinching stuff from shops and then
for the halfway house.
For the halfway house and selling it. And then she
thinks that Judy's going to be pleased that she's doing that. Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, this is like supposed to be rehabilitating people, not getting them to commit more crimes. And she's just out on the rob, isn't she? And fair play to her.
She genuinely thinks she's helping.
She thinks she's trying to help. And then in the end, she goes and puts it all in the charity bin, doesn't she?
Yeah.
So I think that's one of them. And then I think the other one is the truck raffle. when they're at the other prison and they do the raffle, her and Lizzie, and is it Chrissy that wins it?
I can't remember who wins it.
So just to have a bit of fun, because they're in the men's prison and they've not got much, they do a raffle and they draw the number out the hat or the ticket or whatever, and it's Chrissy, and she's like, "Oh, I've won! I'm so excited!" And they're like, "Well, we promised you a chicken, and here it is." And Maxine throws it over, and it's bloody frozen. And she's like, "It's a frozen chicken. What am I supposed to do with a frozen chicken?" And Lizzie's like, "Cook it." And she's like, "How can we? We're not even we're like sleeping on the floor in another building. How am I supposed to cook a frozen chicken?" I just think that's so funny.
But they were quite good when they actually deliberately went for those scenes. Sometimes they got it wrong, but occasionally they absolutely nailed those scenes that were meant to be funny and were.
And it's just so good. Her and Lizzie, they've obviously like planned this, and you can just see the characters are so like, are we going to get away with it? That we've promised them a roast chicken, and actually it's a frozen chicken. That's right, because they've got such crap food. The raffle is to have a chicken meal. Yeah, and that's going to be the prize, and it ends up being a frozen bird. I think though Maxine's best line, and I've got to try and get this right, is when Nola's brought drugs in, and they're smuggled in the tea bags, and Maxine says something like, "Instead of one for the pot, it was pot for everyone."
We're doing this rewatch at the moment, and we're in that stage.
Are you in that era?
Yeah, so mid 350s, I think.
Something like that, yeah. Do you remember that episode where the vicar comes in as well? I remember the first time I saw that, and like he's like, "Oh, who's your worst prisoner?" And they're like, "Well, it'd be Nola Mackenzie." And he's like, "Oh, let me talk to her. I'd really like to do the Lord's work." And they're like, "Nola won't talk to you. She's a bloody."
He looks like an Aussie Paul Nicholas.
Yeah. And then like she's like, "Okay, preacher, get on with it." And he's like, "Oh, I will." And he opens his Bible and it's full of drugs, and it's like, I remember watching that the first time I saw it, thinking, "Oh my God, that's like." So he's not really a vicar, he's a drug dealer.
I always thought that was so signposted though as well, but it was still good the way the way they did it.
Yeah. I just remember being like, "Oh my God," the first time I saw it.
Because I'm trying to think exactly how that came up. But it's something, and I've watched these ones quite recently as well. That's something to do with her knowing a TV producer.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Doesn't she ring someone up and says, "Talk to whatever his name is and tell him that Nola's on the phone and that I remember him from back in Perth and he needs to get his arse into the TV."
And all of a sudden, this TV producer is somehow able to deal drugs in a prison.
I know, it's ridiculous. And you just think the backstory of Nola is that wasn't she like some abused wife that was kept at home by her husband who was out boozing all the time? So how would she have got to know a TV producer?
And also she cracked, didn't she? Essentially, was what happened. She cracked, killed her husband, killed a copper, and went on the run. And that's that was her life. So obviously, when she was on the run, she must have met a TV producer
before she jumps on a train and puts a wig on and pretends to be someone else.
Yeah, there was a small window to get to know a TV producer. So unless it was before she got married.
Yeah, it could be, but it just doesn't. You're right. It's ridiculous that it's almost like, how do we weave this into the plot that Nola knows a TV producer?
I always think it's dangerous. If you pull at a thread, sometimes the whole thing collapses.
Yeah,
I think that's what we've done with this TV producer story.
Yeah, but it's probably the only bit that is one of the few things that I think does stick in my mind as well. About it's bizarre, but we can forgive them.
We'll let them off.
It was the 80s. They didn't have the internet, so how would they remember? But yeah, it's just a bit far fetched, that, isn't it?
Yeah. But it just goes to show how much was going on during the Maxine era. Yeah,
and
even when she's not involved directly, there's a lot of storylines that she's like a peripheral part of, or the main part of.
And that's what's good about a character as well, because she can be the main character and like be leading stuff, but she can also be like a minor character, giving things to other like helping other characters bring out their stories and stuff. And I think she made that transition well between being the main star of the show or the main star of a scene, but then maybe being a bit more of a background one as well that was enabling someone else to kind of like shine. And I think that was what was good about her.
She's very important in that Nola versus B thing, because she's kind of like the go-between in that story, isn't she?
Yeah, I remember that bit where isn't Nola coming after her with a knife and she falls downstairs and she's like, she's going to get her.
Yeah, because she starts trying to sell stuff for Nola.
Yeah.
Which pisses B off.
And then B beats her up, doesn't she?
Yeah. So it's, even though that's a Nola versus B story, Maxine's very involved in it.
Yeah, definitely, and really helps carry it along. And I mean, I know I said earlier that I think that's a bit of a shit phase of the show, and it is after the kind of fire, and there's some really dirge characters that come into it that are like, why did they even do that? Why did they even bring that person into it? Or, I mean, do you remember the one with the girl at the halfway house when they bring Wally's daughter back and she's got that long hair? Is it Mickey?
Oh right, yeah.
And they bring that little, I don't know, is she Greek or Italian or something? They bring her into it, and she's got that dreadful father that has the heart attack.
Greek, she's very Greek.
I mean, what the fuck was all that about?
I don't know, but I'm glad it happened.
I mean, like, the best thing what they should have done was put that girl in prison for something. You know, they bring a character in. Usually, when they brought someone in like that and gave them a bit of dialogue, you think, oh, they're going to commit a crime and end up in prison. And she didn't. And it's like, what was the point of that story? Like,
is it just showing what's happening in the halfway house? Was that the only reason it existed?
I just found that really boring. And then
I'm incredibly grateful for that one scene. But the whole, there's no way that entire storyline existed just for that scene, because they couldn't have known at that point what a classic moment it was going to become.
My heart, you need to come home.
It's that bit.
It's classic, isn't it? And there's this, isn't there this bit as well where Mickey's boyfriend is she called Litsa? Is it Litsa?
I can't remember.
Where the boyfriend takes her out raging and they're in some dreadful kebab shop afterwards, and she's like, oh, that was such a good night, and all those people, it was amazing, and it's just like really badly written and acted, and it's pointless. But then at least then you've got something good where Hazel then turns up and it completely changes, and you've got I've got a brain tumor, Jude. And you've got, I was actually just trying to think,
is Judy back in at the episode we've just watched? Is that after? Is she back in for the Hazel's death? Is that where we're at?
So
I'm trying to remember. I keep losing track of what Judy's in prison for.
The one we've just watched, Judy is in prison for killing Hazel.
Yeah. Okay.
And then there's like this bizarre, actually, people think that you shouldn't have been in prison and going to do an appeal and you're going to get out. And that's just like, what? Like, she's either done it or she hasn't. And it's just a bit far-fetched, isn't it, when she leaves? It's just too sudden.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying because she's been there for so long. And to just... It's kind of the way in a lot of these cases where you get these characters who've been there for like hundreds of episodes and they're suddenly like written out in 2. And you go, oh, right, that's it. That's the end of them. We're never going to see them again.
And I mean, I suppose on reflection, with hindsight, you can always rewrite things, but there's better ways they could have done it.
Yeah.
Like they could have said, someone in Adelaide has just been released for a mercy killing, or somebody's just like, there's been a precedent set that because she gave her the pills and stuff that she didn't murder it. It can't be murder, so that's why we're going to release Judy. I mean, it's just silly, isn't it?
Yeah, I get the feeling that they were probably trying to negotiate a contract right at the end, and then suddenly went, shit, we've got 2 episodes to wrap this up.
I think from when, and thinking about Maxine, I think from when she first comes into it, halfway house time, going on the rob, and then thinking that that's going to help the item sell. And I love that scene with the 2 old women as well before the shop's actually opened, and she gets them in and she's like, oh yeah, this is like a genuine old-fashioned teapot or something. And when she's really like trying to sell those stolen goods to those old dears, that's so good. That era of it is one of my favorite eras of the show, and it's probably because of Maxine.
Yeah. Like that, I think of her as like the buffer between the B and Joan. I think, and she's got like 100 episodes where I think that's the Maxine era of the show.
And it's
And
so sad when she dies.
it is, like, particularly as I thought there was more for her to do in the show.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is why I always thought, yeah, I always thought that she obviously wanted out because of how sudden it was for her to have gone, which is a shame. But in terms of our like in-depth focused characters, Maxine Daniels, we salute you.
Yeah, absolutely. You're one of the best, and maybe overlooked a little bit as well because she wasn't really one of the main characters. And like you say, there's a lot of other stuff going on. The era that she's in it, you know, you've got the freak arriving, you've got the freak and bee stuff, you've then got the halfway house stories afterwards. There's a lot of stuff going on that she could easily be forgotten about, and
Yeah,
actually, I think
she's
she
one of the
really
good ones.
stands out. She is one of the good ones. So
It's
go
essentially
Maxine.
the right sort of character that I wanted to do these on as well, because when you first think of Prisoner, you'll go, oh, it's B, it's Joan, it's Meg, it's Vera, it's Lizzie, whatever. You'd go through quite a lot before you got to Maxine. But so I wanted to give her due.
And I think as well, out of they did have quite a lot of young. I mean, you were saying she was a teenager, and it's interesting because I think I've always thought of her as a little bit older than that. But you're right, because she was 20 when they read it out on the radio and say that a 20 like Maxine Daniels, who was 20, was shot today. It's like, oh, she was quite young, and they do a lot of those young characters. I suppose Lexi, Bobby. Maybe Marlene to some extent, although maybe she's a few years older than that. And obviously Doreen was supposed to be
Yeah, the weird thing is, I find most of those characters annoying.
but Maxine really stands
Maxine
out
not,
as
yeah.
the best one. I think
Yeah.
she's of them trying to do an 18, 19-year-old character, she is the best, I think, in the whole series of that age group.
Absolutely, I agree with that completely. I also liked your other choice that you were going to go for, just in case you didn't do Maxine, because she's another one of my favourites. Yeah, I think Helen's great as well.
Yeah.
So maybe in the future we'll have to do Helen one.
Well, yeah, if you want to do another one at some point, we'll talk about and if nobody else wants to talk about Helen, I'd be quite happy to.
I know. I've asked a few people to do it, because obviously I've got to ask the people who like, because I do introduce some people to the show on this. It's their first episode. Some people have only watched it, occasionally, or maybe saw it a few times 30 years ago. So, but the people who I know who like watched it properly, I like them to say who their favourite characters are and peripheral ones. So it'd be too easy to say who's your favourite character, Joan. But so I wanted to.
I think it changes. I mean, I think it's like, who's your favourite Screw? Who's your favourite prisoner? Who's your favourite non-prisoner character? I think there's quite a lot of them.
Yeah,
it's really hard to
think
pick
Joan overall is my favourite character in TV, because she's so good. But yeah, you get favourites and you have like the less favourites. Mentioning no Mervyns.
Yeah, there's no way he's going to be in anybody's top 100 even. The thing with Maxine is, she never really was my favourite when I first watched it, and probably like the first few times I watched it. But as the years have gone on and I've watched it more and I've got older, because I was a teenager. I mean, when we first watched Prisoner, I was still 15, 16.
Yeah,
so I was younger than Maxine. But as I've got older, I appreciate her character more, and I think when you know what's coming with her sister and with like the little kid Michelle and the child abuse and Tony and then the way she dies, I think they're quite poignant, and I think that's stuck with me as I've got older, and I appreciate her more.
I think I didn't realise how much I liked Maxine either until when she died. I was like, oh, I don't want Maxine to die.
I'm trying to think as well what happens after she dies, because it's like a bit of a. I think it really.
There's like 2 episodes and she's hardly ever mentioned again, I think.
But you really get a feeling that because she's
Judy's at the funeral, isn't she?
There's something missing, isn't there? I don't know if Judy does go to. Does Judy go to a funeral and then?
How's it go at the uncle or whoever it is, or the father?
Because
bad mouthing her.
I tell you what, the funeral, Yes, because Judy goes, isn't it Roger? Doesn't Judy go up to Roger and she says, Roger, you don't realise what that kid did for you.
You're the reason she died.
You're the reason. Yeah, you're the reason she died. She wouldn't have ended up back in prison if it hadn't been for you. But the mother, Maxine's mother, who previously was played by Jan Russ, who was she like the casting person as well? They obviously couldn't get her back, and they recast what's her face, the not hungry woman. You remember Mrs. What's she called in the early episode? Is it Vivienne, the woman who really can't act?
Yeah, I can't remember what her name is,
like
but yeah, I know
and
you
Caroline,
mean.
the ones that it's like the mother and the daughter, isn't it? So they recast the actor that played the mother, the one, can't eat, I'm not hungry. She plays
terrible.
Maxine's mother at the funeral, and she was obviously such a bad actress that they cast her in this role.
Didn't give her a line.
They just don't let her speak, and she stood there at the funeral with this black veil over her. I think maybe she gets a line on the telephone and you kind of recognise the voice that it's the same woman, and then when you see her at the funeral, it's like, oh my god, that's the not hungry woman. But she just
it's the relegated. It's like being we're on about the people like Lou Kelly who be at the background and then get promoted into a speaking role. This was the opposite. She got relegated
to the not speaking category, and it's like, oh my god, like. They either cut her lines or they just decided, oh, fucking hell, what's she doing back on set?
Someone in the production went, oh, actually, I remember her. She's fucking awful.
So let's just give her lines to someone else.